As a rescue worker for the past 10 years, I've encountered numerous challenges and confronted various dangers. However, none of these experiences affected me to the extent of needing psychiatric help. In fact, I've been attending sessions with clinical psychologists for the last 3 months, and have only recently regained enough stability to recount the events of that particular rescue mission, which ultimately marked the end of my career. It was the day I earned a promotion from rescue search handler to rescue deputy team leader, an accomplishment that came after 4 years of unwavering commitment and hard work. The success my colleagues and I achieved led to an office party to celebrate our accomplishments. The joy, however, was abruptly shattered when a phone call from the forest department interrupted our festivities. The call conveyed the unsettling news of 4 teenage campers who had gone missing during their trip. These adventurous youngsters had selected a remote hill not far from the city for their escapade. It had been 4 days, and there was still no sign of their return, prompting their worried families to seek help from the security forces. The situation became even scarier when we discovered that one of the kids had already been found. However, there was a chilling twist. Though she was alive, her mind was in turmoil, and she couldn't utter a single word. Worried for the safety of the other kids, we set aside our celebration and hopped into our vehicles, bringing along our search dogs. After an hour-long drive, we reached the spot, a stunning landscape that was both awe-inspiring and eerie, thanks to a thick forest hiding secrets within. Even though it wasn't originally intended for hiking and camping, the location boasted a natural beauty that offered a refreshing escape from the polluted city. The place was painted in hues of green, with dense forests interspersed with clearings of wildflowers. A small brook sparkled in the distance, while the distant peaks of neighboring hills served as silent sentinels against the horizon. The enchanting scenery helped me understand why the children had chosen this spot for their adventures. Its picturesque charm alone was revitalizing. Nevertheless, given the seriousness of the situation, we promptly pressed on, aligning with the detective forces in our search for the missing children. Despite an exhaustive 4-hour search, we could not locate any trace of them until the sun began to dip below the horizon. Forced to pause our mission for the day, we set up a camp, taking a brief rest while awaiting the arrival of our food to replenish our strength before attempting to resume our search. Throughout this interlude, an eerie sensation gripped me. The once serene hill now transformed into a chilling backdrop, with shadows of potential danger casting ominous shapes in every direction. As the senior member leading the search team, a heavy sense of responsibility weighed on me, and I couldn't afford to sacrifice time for rest and food. Knowing that every passing moment was critical in the quest to find the missing children, I opted to seize the final opportunity and explore before calling it a night. Instructing my team to stay behind and have their dinner, I ventured out from the camp, curious about the enigmatic atmosphere. The hill, which had been a picturesque and invigorating place by day, now presented a completely different face under the shroud of night. Despite a subtle sense of unease, I pressed on, resolute in my determination to find at least some clues if not locate the missing children. As I ventured deeper into the forest, a shocking sight awaited me. Beneath the immense canopy of a towering tree, amidst the pitch-black night, sat a small child, no more than 5 or 6 years old, cradling a rabbit in his lap. Strangely, the child displayed no hint of fear or dread on his innocent face. Instead, he seemed entirely at ease and content, relishing the solitude of the cold, dark surroundings, oblivious to the potential presence of lurking wild creatures. Lost in contemplation, I suddenly witnessed both the child and the rabbit vanish before my eyes, leaving me stranded in the enveloping darkness once more. Stunned and haunted by the realization that what I encountered was not human, I stood motionless and petrified, as if an unseen force had rendered me powerless. As I grappled with the unsettling image etched in my mind, a sudden roar echoed from beyond the same gnarled tree, sending a shiver racing down my spine. Frozen in place, I strained to comprehend the unearthly sound. Gradually, a pair of gleaming eyes materialized behind the thick tree trunk. Though reminiscent of an animal, perhaps a leopard, There was an eerie peculiarity to those eyes. Towering over me at a staggering height of approximately 10 feet or more, the creature's gaze remained fixed on me as it circled the tree with a deliberate and unsettling precision. Despite lacking any apparent intention to inflict harm, the sheer presence of this enigmatic being was enough to render my senses numb, enveloping me in a profound, inexplicable terror. I stood frozen, unsure of how much time had passed while the creature bore into me with its unblinking gaze. The moment I lost consciousness remains a blur in my memory. When I woke up, the first light of dawn painted the surroundings. I found myself beneath the same ominous tree, the creature nowhere in sight. The worried calls of my team members reached my ears, but a peculiar quietness wrapped around me, rendering me unable to respond. Lying there, I absorbed their distant voices for some time before making an effort and getting on my feet. My senses still eluded me, yet I stumbled towards the sound of their concerned calls, gradually finding my way through the eerie silence that clung to me. After a short while, my anxious teammates spotted me and rushed over with worry etched across their faces. Relief washed over them upon seeing that I was unharmed. Yet I could not even hear a single word they were saying, as if my ears had become deaf to their concerned voices. I remained silent, staring blankly at him, unable to respond, causing them to become worried about my mental state. Therefore, one of my colleagues took charge of the mission in my place while two others accompanied me to the hospital. The doctor diagnosed me with a significant psychological shock, explained the origin of my condition, and recommended seeking the expertise of a psychotherapist for my treatment. For about a week, I stayed utterly silent and unresponsive, as if some profound trauma had struck me. Occasionally, in the dead of night, I'd jolt awake, letting out piercing screams, all while sensing an eerie presence looming nearby. I never quite unraveled its nature, but one thing was certain: a dark secret lay concealed in the heart of the picturesque hill, etching profound scars onto the minds of those who stumbled upon it. Even after emerging from my silent and traumatic state, my psychological well-being didn't feel sturdy enough to embark on further rescue missions. This state of mind prompted an unexpected choice. I opted for retirement, a decision I never thought I would take, especially after attaining the position that I had always aspired to achieve. However, they say that everything happens for a reason, and in my case, that turned out to be true. After retiring, I was pleasantly surprised to be offered a higher position in the same office, which proved to be much more convenient for me. Now, my responsibilities mainly involve compiling reports on rescue missions for the higher-ups, sparing me from the need to participate in actual field operations. It took some time, but I've finally overcome the shock that experience left me with, and am now stable enough to share my story with you. In the end, I would like to offer some advice to the younger generation. It's essential not to be too hasty in choosing daring adventures. Always bear in mind that danger can lurk in the most unexpected corners.